Hey mamas, welcome to the first of a new video series called Love Notes of Encouragement. During this time, there's a lot of changes that are happening quickly, a lot of things that are out of our control, and that makes life really scary and frightening. And I have no answers. I don't have any solutions for any of us during this time, and I'm reminded that sometimes the most heroic thing that we can do is to lead with our hearts, to lead with love, that the number one virtue that a hero embodies is courage. And courage comes from the Latin and French word cor, which means our heart. So this is just my little way of sending a little love and encouragement out into the world for myself and others. And so today, for our first love note, I wanted to share a challenge that I faced recently yesterday, how I moved through that challenge, and what the lesson is that I'm really learning from this challenge. Hey Liam, what are you doing in the kitchen? Oh, you would like some help in the kitchen. Can you come? Oh, the pasta has fallen on the floor. Okay. All right. So the challenge that I was facing yesterday, was screen time. What a loaded topic, can be triggering for so many of us, and the conscious parenting, intentional parenting, whatever label that you choose to put on the type of parenting as. But it's really a type of parenting where we're trying, we're striving, we're studying and learning and doing our best as we try to. And in that awareness, we know that screen time can be associated with many types of developmental delays, developmental blocks, that too much screen time is bad, being out in nature is good. And so yesterday I put on a cartoon for Liam to watch, Clifford, the big red dog, and Liam was up on the bed watching an episode of Clifford, and I was down in the kitchen getting us lunch prepped. And my husband came into the room, he's home working now, and noticed that I was feeling a little off. And he said, what's wrong? I said, tell me I'm not a bad mom for letting Liam watch Clifford. And so he tells me, you're not a bad mom for letting Liam watch Clifford. And I was still in a funk. And I think that really was a cue for him that I was really struggling with this, that it wasn't just a passing comment that I said, but that I was actually really struggling with guilt and feeling this lack of failing as a mother because I'm letting our child watch a cartoon on a screen while I prepared our lunch. And so he took an extra minute to give me a hug and to settle me in and look me into the eye and tell me that I'm not a bad mom for letting our son watch screen time. And that was a moment for me to just release and say that is a truth. It can be my truth. It can be my truth that I think I'm a terrible mom for letting our son watch a cartoon. Or it can also be my truth that I am not a bad mom for letting our son watch a cartoon for a short period of time, or any period of time. And I didn't really think that this would be something that I would share on a video until I was on my Facebook and I saw a good friend from back home whose daughter is also home during this quarantine period, and she had the comment on her post that she had someone tell her that sometimes movie days are exactly what the doctor ordered, that it was perfectly fine to stay in our PJs, for her daughter to stay in comfy clothes and to watch movies for a day, and that she was struggling with this too, of feeling like we're bad parents for not always doing the best thing, and the best thing being a very clearly defined thing of what it is and isn't across the board. And so I feel like it's important for all of us that maybe we don't have those people in our lives to sit us down and look us in the eye and to remind us of this truth, the alternative truth, that we are not bad parents, that we are not failing for letting our children watch cartoons or movies or what have you. And as I think about this, I think of what is the lesson that I was really learning yesterday, that I'm not a bad mom. And it's like there is this thing called the virtuous mean. And is that virtue lies in the mean, and on either side of the virtue lies either the vice of deficiency on one side, and on the other side, the vice of excess. And that everything, good, bad, has a virtuous mean, and it has a vice of excess and a vice of deficiency. So even something as good, such as yoga, we can do too much yoga. Doing yoga all day, every day, is too much. It's an excess. But never doing yoga, absolutely never moving your body, you get none of the benefits. That there is a happy medium. And the same can be applied for things that maybe we think of as bad, or we tell ourselves the story that they're bad. And so for screen time, what is the virtuous mean for the screen time? That there's a vice of excess, of course. And that's where all this research that we have now comes from, is that we have many examples of what the vice of excess leads us to. And then the vice of deficiency on the other side, of never and absolutely and completely rigid, may not be what serves us best either. But this virtuous mean isn't this standardized, set, never changing, locked in virtue. That the virtuous mean can be thought of instead of as like a river that winds and bends, and that as different seasons come upon us and different challenges are facing us, that there is a different need at that time, and that the vice of excess and the vice of deficiency still lie on either side, but there's give and take along. And as this river bends, and as we go, we change and evolve as we need to change and evolve. And that this flexibility is really a source of resiliency for us. That when we are rigid, we are brittle and we break. But if we can be flexible and approach this with a playful sense of curiosity, then all of a sudden we become resilient and things become enjoyable again. And that in this specific example of screen time, that when we allow ourselves to be playfully curious about what the virtuous mean is, and to say that for today, this amount of time, this amount of content is what's best for my family, that allows us to then fully disengage, and we can use the time that we are given in a way that truly nourishes us. So when we have ourselves locked into that story that we're a bad mom for letting them be on the screen, we then are often standing at the side or listening to them watch their screens and thinking that we're a bad mom, and we're stuck in that ruminating thoughts. And so we reach for the glass of wine, or we reach for the phone with our social media or our texting or our Pinterest boards, and we reach for something to numb ourselves out so that we don't have to listen to that voice in our head. But how about instead if we just don't even feed that story anymore, and instead use that time, instead of to numb ourselves out, to nourish ourselves, so that we can then return. When the cartoon ends, when the movie ends, we come back to our roles as mothers, having had an opportunity to do something that fully fills up our cup, as well. Whether that's taking a bubble bath or doing a yoga session. Maybe it's calling one of our good friends and having a deep, uninterrupted opportunity to talk and connect. Maybe it's reading a good book or writing a journal. Maybe it's hopping on and doing some work. I know that for me, that is one of my ways that I love to fill my cup, that I return to my roles so much more filled up when I have had this opportunity. And when we allow ourselves to be truly nourished, then we have this greater love to give. We're not tired and burnt out. We're not struggling to unnumb ourselves to return to these roles. And that we get to enjoy the process. And each day doesn't become a day that we're just slogging through, that we're just getting by until the kids go back to school, that we get to enjoy these days and enter into the game. Enter into this game of life that we're given. And we get to do it with a sense of joyful, playful curiosity that's just a lot more fun and exciting to live by. So that is our note today. I hope that's been helpful and provide a little encouragement for you at home. And until next time, I want you to know that you are an awesome, incredible mom, and you are already a heroic mama. I'll see you next time. Bye.